All right, so if you're feeling a little bit stiff around the lower back, or if you just feel like you need to move your spine a bit and just free up your joints, this is the workout for you. My name's Sarah, and thank you very much for joining me today. This is my channel, Black Cats Pilates, and this routine is going to last about 20 minutes. No equipment needed, just your lovely self and a comfortable floor to work on. We're going to start in all fours, so I'll see you there in just a second. All right, we're going to start in all fours neutral. So if you just come onto your hands and knees, somewhere around the middle of your mat, you're going to just place your hands beneath your shoulders, knees under hips. Make sure you've got a nice lengthened spine. Okay, so you're finding neutral. Keep your elbows soft, so make sure they're not locked out while we're in all fours. And the shoulders are gently backing down. You're looking at the floor between your hands, so you've got your head aligned with your spine, and you're just going to draw your navel toward the spine as well. So tighten up your abdominals, and that's part of your core engaged. It's going to help to protect your lower back while we're moving. So this first exercise we're going to do is cat and cow. So this is all about flexing and extending the spine. So we're just going to get the facet joints moving, a little bit of mobility. Okay, now keep that core nicely drawn in. And then on your next exhale, just gently tuck your tailbone under and then press into the floor and nod your head so you're taking your chin toward your chest. So you've got a nice flexed spine. This is your cat. And then we're going to go into the cow on an out breath. And we do that by just gently lifting the tailbone, allowing the ribs to sink down slowly, and then you look up. So just hold that position. Okay, now let's go back into the cat, nice and steady, nice and slow. Exhale, tucking the tailbone gently under, pressing the floor away and nodding the head. So holding that lovely position, and then breathe in as you lift your tailbone, let your ribs sink down again and look up. All right, we're going to go one more time. Exhale into the cat, leading with the tailbone, just gently rippling through the spine. So you nod your head at the very end, and then inhale as we go back into the cow, nice and slowly. And then we're going to come back to neutral. Okay, so that start position. Now we'll sit back on the heels and just stretch the arms forward. Give your hands a little shake out if you want to as well, if you're feeling a bit tight around the wrists. We'll just have a little shell stretch so you can relax your head. Okay, a couple of nice deep breaths in and out. Okay, let's come back into all fours neutral. So hands back under shoulders, knees under hips, shoulders gently backing down, and we're lengthening through the spine. Make sure you keep your core engaged, keep the navel drawn in. Now this next exercise is literally the same as what you've just been doing, that flexion and extension of the spine, the cat and the cow, but we're going to add the shell stretch back in. So it's going to be a really nice and dynamic, fluid movement, okay, really mobilizing the spine. Okay, so what we do is we start by gently lifting the tailbone. So let's take a breath in first as we do it. And lift the tailbone, allow the ribs to gently sink down. So we're back in the cow. And you're going to push back as if you're going to sit in a shell stretch. So taking yourself back toward your heels. But now tuck the tailbone under, draw the navel in, and come back into the cat, trying to get your shoulders above your hands. Now lift the tailbone, sink back. Tuck the tailbone under, come forward. Okay, so we inhale on the cow where we're lifting the tailbone. Exhale on the cat, nice and slowly. Lift the tailbone, sink the ribs to go backwards. Tuck the tailbone under and round the spine to come forwards. Nice and slowly, of course, always listen to your body. Okay, something doesn't feel right, you mustn't do it. Nice and steady. This is very gently stretching out the wrists as well. Good. All right, last one. And then we'll come back to neutral. So hands back underneath the shoulders and knees under hips. All right, let's find a nice lengthened spine. So make sure you're looking back at the floor just beneath your hands. And so you've got your head aligned again. Shoulders back and down. And we're going to keep the navel drawn in. So you've got your core engaged. All right, another little exercise in all fours. You're going to take your right hand, just take it out to the side, and then you're going to breathe in to reach up. So look at your fingers if you can. Try and keep the hips above the knees and the spine nice and straight. And then place the hand back down. we're going to do it on the other side. Okay, so left arm out. You breathe in to reach up, hold it for a second or two, and then exhale, hand down. Let's go again, over to the right, reach up, feeling the stretch around the mid to lower back, of course a little bit around the waist, and again we're going over to the left. We reach up slowly, and hand back down. Last time, so breathing in to reach up, don't worry about how high you can reach, it doesn't matter. Okay, down with the hand, and then over to the left again, and down with the hand. Let's sit back on the heels again, enjoy another shell stretch. You can reach your arms out in front. Relax your head down. Breathe nice and deeply. All right, next we're going to come onto our tummy, so into a prone position. So just carefully come up into all fours, but then lower yourself down onto your tummy, and we're going to be on our elbows. So elbows beneath the shoulders, forearms down, palms facing down. With your legs, just widen them out and take your feet toward the corners of your mat. Now, first and foremost, let's get set up. We need to protect our lower back when we're in this position. So we're engaging the core by drawing the navel up toward the spine, and you're going to gently press your elbows into the floor, so that takes the top of the shoulders away from your ears. Try not to sink down here, okay? So you're going to try and keep that tummy button up, keep the ribs off the floor, and this lovely square shoulder, so neutral scapular position. All right, we're going to go into back extensions. Please pay attention to your spine. If there's any pinching or pain at any point in your back, then you mustn't do this. Okay, now let's take a nice deep breath. Exhale to press your palms into the ground. When you do that, you'll see your elbows will lift and you're coming up into a spinal extension. And then we come down on an in-breath, gently bringing the elbows back down. Okay, let's go again. Nice and steady, press up. Slowly come down, keeping the navel drawn in and the shoulders or shoulder blades flush with your back. When you come down, when your elbows touch the floor, try not to keep going with your chest, okay? You don't want to land the elbows and then the ribs. You're trying to stay nice and strong around the shoulders and maintain that neutral positioning. Good, just gently touching the floor with your elbows. You'll notice this is also strengthening the trapezius muscles, your triceps, okay? So the back of your upper arms. So you definitely feel this in the next few days. Lovely. Last couple. Okay, and then our last one. So always go slowly. And then we can fully relax. Just place your hands underneath your shoulders. Carefully come up by pressing into the floor. You can keep your knees wide here, but bring your toes together and now sit back in shell. So when you have your knees nice and wide, like this, if you sit back on your heels, it just opens up the muscles around the lower back, opens up the lower back a little bit more, so you can really stretch out the muscles. Perfect. Just relax into that. Okay. And now if you just walk your hands to your knees, we're going to come to a seated position. So I'm just going to face this end of the mat. Make sure you've got some space behind you, because we're going to roll ourselves back into supine. So if you just pop your feet on the floor, knees and feet about hip width apart, make sure you're sitting up on your sit bones, these bony parts that you can feel under each of the glutes. And if you relax your shoulders, but lift your breastbone, so your shoulder blades fall flush with your back, you can take your arms out in front of you so they're parallel to the floor. We're going to take a nice deep breath. And then exhale and draw your tummy button in. And now come off those sit bones, lower the ribs, lean back, come into a full body stretch. So reach your arms overhead, lengthen out the legs, and then we're going to flex our ankles. So it's really nice just to stretch the calves. And now you can place your arms down by your sides, palms facing down. Pop your feet on the floor and just relax your shoulders and your hips. Good stuff. Get yourself nice and comfy. Knees and feet are hip width apart, so this is a crook position for our legs. Okay, now we're just going to go into a nice little shoulder bridge. So keep the back of your upper arms very gently pressed toward the floor. Let's keep the navel drawn in. Take a nice breath. And now exhale to tuck your tailbone under and slowly roll up through your spine toward your shoulders into your bridge. Now breathe in to come down nice and slowly and tip the pelvis very gently forward at the end. And now repeat. So really slowly rolling up and down. So think of your spine like it's a bicycle chain or a string of pearls. We're coming up link by link or pearl by pearl, same way when we come down. But we're using our shoulders and the back of our arms to anchor us nicely into the mat. Lovely. Okay, last couple. Let's just release the facet joints. Perfect. And then our last one here. All right, and then all the way down. Lovely. If you just bring your knees towards you, give them a little squeeze, circle them round just a couple of times in both directions. And then you can pop your feet on the floor again. So legs back in crook. Just relax your pelvis. All right, what we're going to do next is stretch out the hamstrings. So when you've got tight hamstrings, sometimes this can cause a little bit of lower backache, okay, a few little pains, aches and pains. And so if you stretch out your hammies, that can give you a little bit of release and help you to feel a little bit more loosened up around the lower back. Okay, so before we do anything, let's engage the core. You're going to draw your navel back in again. So hold it there. We'll start with the left leg. Okay, so you're going to raise it up vertically. When you do that, try not to let your tailbone lift off the floor. Try and keep the back of your pelvis gently pressed down. Okay, even if it means this leg is trying to fall back down again. If you can keep it up as much as possible without lifting the tailbone, you'll get a good stretch down the back of the leg, but we're also going to increase that stretch too. So very gently, raise your head and shoulders and take hold of the back of your thigh. So you're just interlacing your fingers together, just kind of beneath the knee. So not on your calf, just here. Keep the shoulders gently back and down and a little gap between the chin and the chest. So you're just looking at your knee. So this is going to strengthen your core as well as stretch your hamstrings. Now let's just lengthen out the right leg. It's going to go off at a tangent 45 degrees. We're going to give this left leg a little squeeze and increase the stretch. Okay, now let go and catch the other leg really slow. And swap. So a little exhale every time you catch the knee. Inhale as you swap. All right, so shoulders back and down. Make sure you're looking at the wall in front, so between the knees, really drawing the navel in. This is leg catches. So stretching out the hamstrings. I'm also going to do another session or a session on hamstrings and hip flexors, so look out for that. Last couple. Okay, and then we'll relax it there on that one. All right, so all the way down. Just relax. Relax your shoulders and your hips. You can let go of your core muscles as well and just breathe nice and deeply. All right, so keeping the feet down and the knees and feet hip width apart, let's just widen out our arms. Make sure your palms are facing up. And then you're going to draw the navel in again. Press your lower back very gently down as well. Okay, that's called imprinting when you do that. You can feel it tightens up your lower abdominal muscles, and we're going to need that when we do this next movement. Okay, so keep the knees and feet hip width apart. We're just going to do an exercise called knee rolls. So we're going to take the knees and just slowly take them toward the floor on the left. Nice and steady, and hold it there. Good. Keep your navel drawn in. Make sure your shoulders are still in contact with the floor. Just feel that little stretch around the waist and toward the lower back. Now you're going to exhale as you roll to the center again. So draw the navel in, press the lower back down, and now you're going to do the same on the other side. So lower the knees to the right. Take a lovely breath in. Good. Now exhale. Back to center. We're going to go again to the left. Breathing in as the knees come down. And then exhale, rolling through center, using the strength of the core. So protecting the lower back. But while we're strengthening the core, we're stretching out the muscles around the waist. Good. And of course, around the lower back. Last time. And then we're going to come back to the middle after this next one. Okay, so enjoy that little stretch. Well, let's come back to the middle. Once again, we'll hug the knees. We'll draw them towards you and just circle them round. So keep the lower back nice and massaged, nice and relaxed. And then if you just pop your feet down on the floor again. All right, now we're going to do a nice little stretch for your SI joint. This is your sacroiliac joint, and it's really troublesome for a lot of people, myself included. So what we'll do is just, again, make sure your core is engaged here. So even though this is just a stretch, we still need to make sure we hold our body in the right position and we're using our core to protect the lower back. So keep that navel drawn in. And then you're just going to take your left leg and lengthen it out. Just relax it on the floor. Okay, now you're going to raise the right leg into tabletop. This is just knee above the hip, shin level with the ground. You're going to then take your left hand and place it on the outside of your right knee. All right, now all you're going to do here is take the knee and gently press it toward the floor on your left. So right now, if you're mirroring me, your right hip will be facing the ceiling, your right knee's on the floor. Just take your right arm out to the side. Okay, good stuff. So you should feel that around the lower back, so around the back of your pelvis. It's different for everybody, okay, because one side might feel tighter for you than the other. All right, keep your navel drawn in, come back to the center, and then we're going to swap sides. Okay, so lengthening out the right leg this time. You bring in the left leg into tabletop. Let's keep the navel drawn in, remember. And then you take your right hand and place it on the outside of the left knee. And you're just pressing down so your left knee is on the floor to the right. And we're taking the left arm out to the side. So really stretching out the side of the body, the back of the pelvis. Okay, or you're going to feel it around here, around your waist. Okay. And when you're ready, on your next out breath, just come back to the middle. And then again, we'll hug the knees, just draw them towards you, circle them round a couple of times in each direction. All right, now we're going to come to seated. We'll use an exercise called rolling like a ball. You just draw the knees towards you, rock up to seated, and then just lengthen out the legs in front of you. You can have the legs together. We're going to sit up nice and tall. So relaxing your shoulders, but lift the breastbone up. So lift your chest. So you're really lengthening through the spine when you do that. Chin level with the floor. And then you're going to raise your arms up nice and high. We're just going to stretch out your spine in a seated position. So breathe in here. Now exhale, keep the rib cage lifted as you hinge forward at the hip, and then you start to lower yourself down. Try and reach for your feet or your ankles or even the shins if that's as far as you can go, but just look at the floor below. Okay, keep your tummy button drawn in, and then you're just going to restack your spine. So just come back to seated tall, let your fingertips just slide along the front of the legs, lift the breastbone, shoulders back and down. We're going to go again. Big breath in, and then exhale. Keep the breastbone lifted as you hinge forward at the hip. Your arms naturally come down toward the feet and you're looking at the floor. Keep your tummy button drawn in as you restack the spine. Let the fingertips just slide along the front of the legs. Reach up high. All right, last one. Remember, never force your body. Just go with what feels right. But breathe in and exhale. Just looking at the floor. All right, now slide the fingertips along the legs. Come back to seated tall and give your shoulders a very gentle roll. Okay. And now if you just want to come into a kneeling position, the middle of your mat, just face this way. We'll finish on some lovely big, deep cleansing breaths. All right, so again, let's sit nice and tall, shoulders back and down. You're going to reach your arms up as you breathe in. And then exhale. Lovely. Two more. Big deep breath. And the last one. Brilliant. I really hope that you enjoyed that and that you're feeling a little bit more loosened up, a little bit less stiff and achy. Remember, you can do that routine as often as you like. Speaking of likes, please give the video a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you'll always get notifications every time I upload a new workout. I'm going to be releasing another one shortly on hamstrings and hip flexors, so make sure that you're tuned in for that. And just finally to say thank you so much for moving with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Bye.